It's geek time, guys. I'm Emma.
I'm Adriana.
Yep.
You got it right! Nice job! Alrighty, so I'm really excited for today because it's like two of my favorite things are getting put together. So, do you want to introduce it?
Sure. So we're sorting Percy Jackson characters into Hogwarts houses. Little disclaimer. We're not really counting like how they are in Trials of Apollo because I haven't read the whole series. So...
Yeah, so we're mostly focusing on like Percy Jackson, Percy Jackson and the Olympians and Heroes of Olympus.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started to like combine them.
Close enough.
That's good.
Okay. Alright, so we have a list in front of us. We'll put it on there so you guys can see who we're doing.
Alright, so do you want to start off the top?
Sure.
Okay, Percy. So, I felt for me this one was really obvious. He just seems like such a Gryffindor.
Mm-hmm. I put Gryffindor too.
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like that's like a main character thing.
I feel like you could make the argument that he's in Hufflepuff, but like...
I feel like you could, but I
Gryffindor.
feel like in terms of main characters in most books, they have more of the Gryffindor-like qualities.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of the classic Gryffindor-esque thing. Or main character-esque thing. Okay.
Okay, then Annabeth is pretty obvious.
Ravenclaw. Yeah. That was especially... I feel like it's just the whole book, she's like trying to learn things and figure stuff out.
Yeah, and she like values knowledge so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially even her nickname for Percy is relevant to his brain.
Yeah.
So it's just like, that's like the main focus of like her
and then
whole life.
Percy's nickname for her is, you know, like...
Wise girl. So
exactly.
like,
So it's like just like...
everything pertaining to her is that.
Like
so it's
Ravenclaw. Okay. So Grover, I chose Hufflepuff.
I did too.
Because just the whole series, he's like with Percy and like helping him out.
And he found Pan.
Exactly. This is just great.
I'm saying they're good at finding things.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I felt like Grover's was pretty obvious as well. Just
yeah. I feel like those three were like pretty obvious.
And I think that's just the thing with all books is like the main characters are so much easier to identify their traits.
Mm-hmm.
And in the terms of training them to Hogwarts houses, it's so easy to like see where they'd go.
Yeah.
I feel the rest of the characters I struggled with.
I struggled with a couple, especially this next one.
Jason.
I felt like he was just such a two-dimensional character that like I had such a hard time finding any qualities.
It's not that I don't like Jason, and I thought he was like great. Like he had some key roles, but overall he just wasn't a character that I like was you're amazing. Like so picking out like what house he fit in was hard because even just like going through the books and his personality, I was like, you're not like he doesn't show a lot of these qualities. At least not obviously. Like he is brave, which would go to Gryffindor. But he also
got knocked unconscious multiple times and got hit with a brick. Like
things.
So I put him in Hufflepuff.
So I had him split between Gryffindor and Hufflepuff because I couldn't really choose, but I felt like Hufflepuff was the most prominent.
I feel like Hufflepuff is just where everybody goes that isn't like prominently something else.
I don't know. I felt like because
nothing against Hufflepuff.
No,
I've
we
been
love
sorted
Hufflepuff.
into Hufflepuff.
We love Hufflepuff.
Savannah is a Hufflepuff, and we love Savannah.
So I think for me the main reason I went towards Hufflepuff is because Jason is such a rule follower.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
So much so that Piper gets annoyed with him about it. Like, in, I think, Mark of Athena is when she's just like, you are being so frustrating right now. Because he just follows the rules, like, so, like, to the point. He doesn't break... so he's like, and because of that, he's like a really hard worker. Like, he always does what he's supposed to. So I felt like that was my main, like, you're probably more of a Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
And he's also very loyal to, you know, like the Romans. And, and then later the Greeks, you know, as they, like, combine. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I felt like Hufflepuff fit him. But it was definitely really hard to, like, actually pick one.
Yeah, I felt like there just wasn't, like, any, like, super defining characteristic that would make it obvious.
Yeah. Okay. Piper.
I said Slytherin.
I did as well.
Because she, like, is good at manipulating people.
That is not why I chose. I actually put her in Slytherin because I felt that most of the time she is really ambitious, but, like, she's, like, a really good leader, but there are times when she does, like, manipulate people to do what she wants. So I guess, yeah.
I mean, her literal power is manipulating people.
It is.
So,
it is.
like...
Yeah.
Just saying. Okay.
Alright.
Leo.
I put as Ravenclaw.
I did too.
Yeah, because I just, especially, like, when he's, like, figuring out the Archimedes spheres.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, even though he's, like, really funny and, like, kind of a comedian throughout the books, he's very smart. He just doesn't always, like,
yeah, it's
lean
not
towards
obvious.
it.
It's not obvious that he's smart because he covers it up with so much sarcasm, which is great, by the way.
We love sarcasm. Emma is the queen of sarcasm. So, you know. But, yeah, I feel like he's definitely a Ravenclaw, just he downplays his intelligence.
Yeah. And I feel like even though it's not, like, what he values the most, like, he's still...
I think he does it subconsciously.
Yeah, I think he doesn't outwardly value it, but I feel like subconsciously it's, like, a really big motivator in his life. So...
Yeah, and I totally
agree.
agree.
And, like, I feel like kids of Hephaestus would naturally be curious because they want to know how everything works.
Yeah.
And I feel like curiosity is, like, a big part of being a Ravenclaw.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, he was also one of the ones I was, like, is simpler to choose because, like, even though it's downplayed, like, the entire time he's, like, making things and, like, figuring out how things work. So it was kind of like a thing where it's, like, it's there. It's just not what he values, like Emma said. So,
yeah. Okay,
Frank. Again, really difficult. But I ended up going with Gryffindor.
See, I went with Hufflepuff.
Really?
Because I feel like he's just, like, so loyal to Hazel. Like,
right.
It's just, like, so overpowering that, yes, he is really brave and, like, I mean, he's son of Mars, so, like...
See, I went with Gryffindor because I felt like,
for Gryffindor.
especially after he, like, in Son of Neptune, when he's, like, using his life source to, like, free death, like,
yeah.
and almost dying himself, I felt like after that he kind of realized that he was strong and he could do things that he didn't think he could. And after that, I feel like throughout the books he kind of actually, like, used his, like, bravery and courage because he knew he had it at that point, so.
I would agree with that. But I still feel like he's just, like, so loyal to Percy and Hazel.
You're
especially
right.
Hazel, and, like, yes, he is brave, and yes, he is the son of the god of war, which would make sense with Gryffindor, but, like, he's just so caring all the time and, like, so conscious of other people.
I didn't even really, like, consider that when I was, like, dating. But now that you bring it up, it makes a lot more sense. But that was, like, not even in my train of thought when I was thinking about this, so I actually really like that. So.
Hazel.
Hufflepuff.
I put her in Slytherin.
Really?
Yeah, so I feel like part of why I thought that, which is gonna sound, like, totally cliche and, like, stupid, but, like, she's just such, like, a tortured soul, and she just has this background, and, like, I feel like that just adds to, like, she wants to prove herself and, like, get rid of the, like, scars of her past, and so she's just, like, really striving for that, and I feel like that makes her more of a Slytherin.
I like that. I like that reasoning. I put her as Hufflepuff just because, kind of like you were saying, Frank is, like, loyal to her. That's kind of how I felt. Like, she's so loyal to Percy and Frank, and she, like, sticks with him. And then when she gains her horse, like, she cares so much for him. Like, and she's always, like, looking for something to do, like, to help. So I felt like, especially when she, like, meets Hecate and, like, kind of gains, like, this thing where she kind of has, like, the key to their success, like,
yeah.
So, I don't know, I felt like she was kind of more of a Hufflepuff, just downplayed, kind of like Leo with Ravenclaw, so.
Okay, Reyna.
I also put her in Hufflepuff.
That's interesting. I was split between Slytherin and Gryffindor.
Really? Those definitely crossed my mind. The reason I put her in Hufflepuff is because I felt like Jason, she was very loyal to the Romans, she was very hardworking and stuff. But I felt like she was more... She had a lot more, like, qualities than Jason, like, showed. So I did consider putting her in Gryffindor. But overall, I thought her qualities as, like, the leader of like, the Romans and stuff, that she was, like, so loyal to them that she fit in Hufflepuff, so.
See, and I said that I would probably put her in Slytherin because she's in the strong leader role, right? And she's so ambitious to A, prove herself, but B, also better everything else.
Yeah.
But I also said Gryffindor because she's very willing to sacrifice everything she has to make everybody else feel better and to make, like, the Roman Camp Jupiter feel better and, like, lift them up, and she's so willing to sacrifice that.
That's really good.
So.
And I guess going towards Gryffindor, just, like, her whole thing with, you know, bringing the Athena statue back to Camp Half-Blood, definitely ties to that.
Definitely. Okay, Luke.
Slytherin.
Yeah, I said Slytherin too.
And this is not because he's evil, okay? Not all Slytherins are evil. No. I put him there just because he's so ambitious.
Like, I would say ambition is trying to kill the Greek gods. I'd say that's pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
His whole story is just this elaborate plan to get rid of the Greek gods. And he's, like, so... You know, he has this, like, cleverness to it. Like, he's, like... He almost killed Percy, like...
Multiple times.
Yeah, just because he was so ambitious, but he was, like, smart about it.
Yeah.
So there was almost, like, a Ravenclaw to him.
Yeah.
But I felt like Slytherin
Well, I feel like that's more of, like, the cunning part of Slytherin, is he's, like...
Yeah.
He's so smart, but he uses that to his ambitious end. Like,
yeah. So I felt like Slytherin was very obvious, just not because he was outwardly evil.
Yeah.
That's not why we chose Slytherin, okay?
Just because people are evil does not mean that we make them Slytherin.
We just
want to clarify
saying that right now. Okay. You say it different than I do, so.
Okay, I say Thalia.
I say Thalia. So. Well, I say Thalia, but Thalia's.
So I sorted her into Slytherin.
I did as well.
And I feel like she just has that, like, kind of vibe, you know what I'm saying? Just, like...
She just has that, like...
It just fits so well, and it's, like, hard to explain, but, like...
But I feel like it's kind of interesting, because I feel like, you know, her and Jason are brother and sister, and I feel like it's interesting because they're so opposite. So I kind of feel like it's fitting how he's Hufflepuff and she's Slytherin.
Yeah.
Because their qualities are opposite. Just... everything about it. And she's, like... Just as a hunter, like, she becomes, like, one of, like, the leaders of the Huntresses. Like, she's just so ambitious and she gets what she wants. So,
yeah. Okay,
right.
Nico.
I put him in Ravenclaw.
Interesting.
I know it's interesting, so I want to hear what you put him in first.
I said Slytherin.
Okay.
I said Slytherin because he's trying to raise the dead just to talk to his sister, which seems... dramatic measures, and also very ambitious because, like, before that, he didn't know he could raise the dead.
Yeah.
And then, like, his powers are just so strong and how they manifest, and, like, I just feel like...
I can see that. Yeah. Honestly, I put him in Ravenclaw because I felt like he was very ambitious bringing out the dead, but I feel like as he went on in the stories, I feel like he became more of a Ravenclaw because he just became really smart and stuff. And then, like, you know, he went to both camps. He knew about both camps, and he was able to retain all this knowledge and use it to help them win this major war. And I felt like he had just kind of Ravenclaw qualities in the sense that he was really strategic with what he did. And so, I mean, there were times...
I would argue that, like... That definitely had to come with him growing up, though, because I would say more in the Percy Jackson series, he was not very tactful.
Yeah, you're right, and I agree. Like, in Percy Jackson, he was definitely probably more of a Slytherin, but I feel like as he went on, especially into Heroes of Olympus, I feel he gained more of a Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
Just as he grew up and started to understand why everything happened to him in his childhood. So.
Okay, Clarice.
I put her in Slytherin.
I put her in Gryffindor.
Really?
Yes.
My main thing for putting her in Slytherin was just Sea of Monsters. Like, the entire time she is just ambitious and because she wants to prove herself. She wants to prove that she's an amazing daughter of Ares. And so, I don't know, I felt like, and then she uses, she ends up bringing, like, not what she wanted to, but she gets, Percy and Annabeth and them thrown in, but she still works hard to make it her leadership. And stuff. Like, she doesn't want to just give it up to them. She still wants to be a part of it. So
yeah, and I feel like that's kind of part of the reason I put her in Gryffindor, because she was so, like, willing to go on this quest, not knowing anything about it, and, like, facing all these monsters, and, like, after her satyr got killed, she still, like, kept pressing on, even though now she, like, has no way of knowing where they're going. Like, she's still just, like, pushing through, and I feel like that shows a lot of bravery to keep going even though you don't know what is ahead or, like, where you're going anymore. Just losing all sense of direction, but she's still pushing through.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that. I feel like she's one of the characters that could have been a lot of things.
Yeah.
Just because she shifts throughout the book. So, yes. Tyson.
So, I had a hard time with this one.
Really?
I couldn't decide if I wanted him to be a Hufflepuff or a Ravenclaw.
I put him in Hufflepuff. That just didn't... I didn't even think about Ravenclaw.
Because, like, my initial reaction was Hufflepuff because he's, like, so warm and friendly. But at the same time, he figured out so much stuff that Percy, like, it didn't even cross Percy's mind. And he figured it out with, like... It was so easy for him, and, like, he was just so aware of everything around them that even, like, sometimes even Annabeth didn't pick up on it, but Tyson, like, understood what was happening, even though he didn't, like, show it outwardly. He just seemed to understand their situation more than anybody, like, let on.
I like that. I put him in Hufflepuff just because he's, like you said, he's, like, really friendly and kind, but I also feel like he is so loyal to Percy. Like, he was so... willing.
Like, even when Percy was, like, rejecting him as a brother.
Exactly. Like, he still stayed with him. And then when they found Ella and stuff, he went back to Camp Half-Blood with her. And then, saved Reyna. Like, just because he knew that, like, she would help them. Like, I felt like throughout the whole thing, he was so dedicated to helping his friends. And, in turn, was so hardworking. And then he became, like, one of the... just an awesome armor maker. Like, she's like the shield he made.
And I feel like that's part of, like, why I thought he would be in Ravenclaw, is because, like, he's kind of like Leo in that sense, where he's just, like, curious and wants to learn all this stuff, and then he wants to put that knowledge to good use to help.
I like that.
So, okay, last one.
Rachel Dare.
So
I struggled a little bit with her.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, like...
because she's one of those characters, like... because you see her, she's in, like, quite a few of the books, but her role is down, like, it's just so minimum until, like, the later books. And so I just didn't really have, like, an initial reaction for her. So over time I decided, like, that she was more Ravenclaw, I felt like. Because I felt like she's not as, like, outwardly smart as Annabeth and stuff, but I feel like she has, like, this hidden knowledge that comes in handy quite a few times. And then she does become the Oracle of Delphi, which I feel like definitely lends a hand to, like, her knowledge and, like, skills later, so.
I said she was primarily Hufflepuff because, like, Percy comes charging in, he's got a sword, she has no idea what's going on. She helps him anyway. And then, like, over the course of the books, she just stays so loyal to Percy, even though, like, half the time she has no clue what's going on.
Okay.
Like, she's willing to charge headfirst into war and throw hairbrushes at Titans, just because she wants to help Percy because he made a good impression on her and she decided to trust him. So.
I like it. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like a lot of these characters were not so easily sorted into one house, because... it's not... I mean, like, even if you look at Harry Potter, like, a lot of the characters have more than one house in them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, most obvious, like, Hermione definitely could have been a Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
But, so it's, like, a thing where it's just, like, you can't have, like...
Well, I think the thing we're missing whenever we do these videos is, like, part of the sorting ceremony is you get to choose which one you like, which one you want to be part of, and it'll take that into account. And obviously we don't have any of these characters' opinions, so, like, it's hard to take that into account.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of them, you just kind of have to say that they have multiple qualities because you don't really have any other knowledge besides what you read. So, yeah, but this was definitely really fun. I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
So.
That was good times.
Yeah, so I don't know. I thought it was interesting too, just like going through them, through the characters and thinking like, what would you be if you went to like Hogwarts? Like,
yeah.
It's
always fun to do it.
Yeah, whenever we do these, it's just kind of really fun because it's like, what would you be?
And it makes you, like, understand the characters more. Like, when you're analyzing them to, like, this extent where you have to figure out, like, what qualities actually apply to them, what is a facade, and, like, stuff like that. And you have to really go deeper, and I think it helps you gain a better understanding of their character and, like, the part they play in the story. So.
I agree. Honestly, I feel like we should do this for Infernal Devices next.
It's a good idea.
That'll be an interesting one.
It will be.
Ooh, already thinking. That's going to be a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Alright. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It helps us out a lot. And then leave any comments, suggestions for future videos, how you would sort these characters, and
yeah.
Alright. Geek out, guys.